Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to be going over another product from the company LeTime. If you're unfamiliar with them, they are a company that primarily produces batteries of the 12 volt, 24 volt, etc. variety. And in my experience, they are a very reliable company with a very reliable product when it comes to building out a camper van. I can't really speak to any of their other applications, but you could absolutely get away with using their batteries for stuff like boating, trolling, not that kind of trolling, everybody just calm down, and any sort of overlanding RVing that might come to tickle your fancy, as they say. I have been using LeTime products in my self-converted camper van for a few years now, and in the interest of full transparency, I like the product so much that I'm in a very unique situation right now in terms of my van build. I used to live in the van full time, used LeTime batteries for the majority of that time, and I no longer currently am in a van. In case you don't know, this, not a van, but I still have the van and I live in Canada, and we are coming into the winter months very rapidly. And since I'm no longer in the van, I'm not keeping the van heated as frequently as I was, let's say, this time last year, so there was never any concern for me when it came to my batteries. They were always warm because my tiny home was always warm. But now it's a camper van, and if you don't know, lithium batteries, or more specifically, LiFePO4 batteries, which stands for, let me see if I remember this, lithium iron phosphate. Nailed it. They don't like the cold. Not big fans of it. Who is? Aside from me, as a very sweaty man. And one of the things you really aren't supposed to do is send any sort of charge to one of these batteries when they are below a certain temperature. So obviously my brain started going a mile a minute, and I'm like, well, what can I do? I don't want to be hauling batteries in and out of my van every time I want to simply go out and do some camping. That seems crazy. So I went onto their website and I was making the decision to purchase one of their self-heating batteries. I don't have any experience with this, but from what I understand, this should solve my problem as long as it is attached to a trickle charger. When the van is parked, the batteries should keep themselves nice and warm and topped up, and no damage should befall them. And ironically, without any other thing happening, before I was able to actually purchase this, I did receive an email from LeTime because I've done videos like this in the past for their products, and they asked if I would be interested in doing yet another collaboration with them. Or I guess it's not really a collaboration, more it's like me receiving a free product from them and talking about it here on my YouTube channel. So in the interest of my wallet, I took them up on their offer and said, sure, would you be willing to send me one of your self-heating batteries? And voila. So that's what we're going to be going over in this video. We're going to unbox this sucker, show it to you, and get it installed inside the good ship Lucky. Again, if you're new around here, that's the name of my camper van. That wasn't a deep enough incision, my goodness. Don't be scared when the box comes. If you get yourself one of these, there's always lots of foam in the top, along with the book of words. First and foremost, before we get to any sort of installation though, we got to get the battery out of here, and we're going to have to get it all charged up tippy top, because it's always good practice when you get any sort of battery before you put it to use to make sure it's at max capacity. So here's the top of the box. Like I said, there is a lot of foam packaging up here. I did go a little ham. I noticed there's a little slice from my knife there, just on the quick start guide. That is a-okay. This is great material to have if you want to familiarize yourself with your product. I am very familiar with it, so I'm not going to need to go too deep of a dive into this sort of stuff, but that is what I'm looking for. Automatic self-heating function. If I don't have to worry about and do anything extra, I like that. So put that to the side. Up here, we've got our posts for our negative and our positive terminals, which we can already see poking out here through the foam. So let's remove this, and there is our battery. He's looking a little on the larger side. I would imagine like larger than the 100 amp hour batteries I've used in the past. But there you go. LeTime gives you all of the battery information right here on the top. So for your knowledge. And now, ooh, a little strap. I'm gonna lift this bad boy out, but I'm not gonna, I was gonna say I'm not gonna do it with one hand. Actually, yeah, bye-bye bag. There you go. We got her out. So there we go, there is the battery, and it's got some weight to it for sure, but I've had a lot of experience with other batteries in the past, like AGM and Flooded, and they are always super heavy. So while this isn't the lightest thing in the world, I have found these far easier to move around That being said, since this is bigger, as far as I understand it, there's a heating pad wrapped around the cells on the inside, along with the BSM or BMS or battery monitoring system, battery safety monitor, BMS. That's what we're gonna go with. So there's a little bit more bulk to this than the other 100 amp hour battery. Now I do have a 100 amp in my van along with a 200 amp hour battery. Those are going to be coming out and this is going to be going in for the season. So we'll put those batteries in storage inside my home so they stay nice and roasty toasty all winter long, and I will be able to keep them topped up with something just like this, what I'm going to use right now to make sure this guy's charged up. Just a little battery charger here. These ones are great. They've got settings for all different styles of batteries. I have a LeTime trickle charger installed in my van. I like that. I don't know how necessary it is. One of these ones that you could pick up at like a Canadian Tire or something will probably do the job just fine, but I like having everything sort of under the same umbrella. Like I can trust that the company who built the battery and also built the battery charger probably knows what they're doing and they should charge their own products just fine. But I digress, I'm getting way off track here. So the first thing we gotta do, open up the little baggie that was in the top there. Here we go, right? Super simple, just simple posts. You can use a socket to tighten them down, or you can use a Phillips head screwdriver to tighten them down. Just slap them on right here. No muss, no fuss. And I'm gonna get this bad boy onto that trickle charger, make sure he's all topped up, and then we're gonna get it into the van. Here's the setup right now as I'm getting it all topped up with the trickle charger, and shout out to the charge level of the battery. Like as soon as that goes solid green and these lights turn off, we're good to go, but it basically went up to green right away. So it is a very healthy battery that I received from them, and I feel like that's probably worth noting. Also shout out to my daughter for letting me use her little kitchen net as my charge station. You know what, while that's charging up, I am taking a little bit of a look here at the Book of Words because contrary to some people's beliefs, I am in fact not above that. And I'm just familiarizing myself with the specifics of the battery, which is, not a bad practice. So right here on page 3 of the book, we have the automatic self-heating function, and it says, and I quote, "The automatic self-heating function will be activated by the BMS," nailed it, "when the battery is connected to a charger at minus 20 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius, or 4 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit to 41 degrees Fahrenheit. The heating will be stopped when the battery temperature has reached the set value, which normally takes approximately half an hour to an hour from minus 10 degrees Celsius or 14 degrees Fahrenheit, and approximately 70 to 100 minutes from minus 20 degrees Celsius and minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit. The battery will be normally charged after the heating has been stopped." And how does it look like? Yes, well, welcome to the world we live in. 2 heating pads are installed on 2 sides of the battery, providing sufficient heating and more comprehensive protection of your battery, right? So there you go. I'm assuming this is probably the BMS over on the side. It's just a wild assumption, I'm not a scientist. But yeah, we got the heating pad on the top and heating pad on the bottom, right? So you connect it to your charger, and once the temperature sensors detect the battery temperature, if it needs to, the heating pads will turn on. And that is exactly what we're looking for because we want to be able to let the van sit and not pull our hair out thinking, oh my God, what's happening to my batteries right now? That sounds inconvenient. This is also good to know for me since I'll be taking out those batteries. They say that for a longer lasting product, it is best to store the battery at a 50% charge level and recharge every 3 months if it is not going to be used for a long time. The more you know. All right, and we are in the van. The battery is all charged up. It's the next day. I decided to take the van for a rip out of the city so that once I have the battery installed, any sort of minor discharge it may have experienced between when I took it off the charger and when it gets installed into the van, it'll be able to top itself up as we drive because it'll be connected to my DC to DC charger, which if you don't know is the device that essentially connects your, well, in my case, my van, my alternator and its engine bay battery to this battery, which powers all of the devices inside the camper van. It'll charge up as we drive, right? So I'll be able to get it right up to the tippy top so that we can set the battery monitor at the correct level and all that good stuff. So I turned on the diesel heater this morning to make this area as warm as possible because I won't be able to use the diesel heater after I remove the batteries, obviously. I did get very lucky. It is a very nice warm day out today, so I'm not too worried about doing this in sub-zero temperatures, which is always preferred. And yeah, we're gonna lose everything. We're gonna lose lights and and everything. I'm doing great. It's very early in the morning. That was an utter brain fart, but it is what it is. Anyway, I say we start by getting underneath the bed to my electrical system and getting those other 2 batteries that are not self-heating the F out. All right, flip our blanket up here, get out of the way. That'll give us access to this. All right, we got our light down here. I do have like a little motion light installed down here, which greatly helps for when I will lose my lights. And these are the 2 batteries that I currently have installed that are powering everything in the van. I got a 100 amp hour and a 200 amp hour. They're connected in series or parallel. I can't be bothered to remember exactly which one is which right now. We do live in 2025, depending on when you're watching this video, and we can look up stuff like that on our phone when we need to know. Right now, we do not need to know that. What we need to worry about is cutting off all of the power. So this is my main off switch. This will disconnect the batteries from everything else, like from the inverter, from the fuse panel, all that good stuff. So just throw that, boom. Now my solar panels will keep my lights on. I learned that little fun fact a while ago, but the lights will be flickering because I don't have the greatest direct sun on the panels right now. So boom, and there we go. So now we need to go at these posts with our 13mm socket here. I don't have a ratchet on hand because of course I don't, but this will work just fine with my screwdriver and an adapter and all of that. And once those guys are out, we will be replacing all 300 amp hours of those with the 100 amp hour of this guy. So some people might be wondering, well, why are you doing that? Why are you removing so many amp hours, going down from 300 down to 100? Doesn't that reduce the amount of power you have available? And yes, absolutely it does. You are correct. However, again, since I'm not in the van full time, I do truly believe that 100 amp hour battery will be more than sufficient for the sort of winter camping that I will be doing in the van. If there's any sort of wild camping happening in the city, as long as it's keeping my diesel heater going, I think I'll be fine. Any other loss to that power, I will be able to make up for by supplementing it with a power station. Those have been a big part of my van life journey as well. Holy crap, I really got these on here tight, which is good. You'd rather have these terminals tighter rather than loose, that's for damn sure. But so yeah, that's it. I mean, some people might have more requirements to have huge power availability. I don't have those in my experience. As long as it can power my fridge and my heater, the heater being the most important thing during the winter months, then I will be a very happy boy. Another thing too, when it comes to this, the whole self-heating function and the importance of it, to my understanding, right, is that even these batteries that I'm removing, like the danger here is that your batteries are going to start getting charged as soon as you introduce some sort of charge to them, right? No matter what the temperature. So whether that be from when you turn your vehicle on, your DC to DC charger's connected, or your solar panels on the roof, or you're on a shoreline, charging them when they're at a low temperature is going to do damage to them. However, these 2 batteries here, they probably have BMSs inside that simply won't allow that to happen. They just will not charge. And that's good. That protects your battery. But you don't want to leave the batteries out in the cold. So with this self-heating one, past Matthew really did a number on these. Holy crap. With the self-heating one, I'll just be able to leave it plugged into shore power, and the batteries will stay nice and warm, and then the van is just ready to go whenever I might want to take off on any sort of camping adventure. And that's what I'm really providing myself with this self-heating battery. Another good application, of course, would be, well, if you are still living in it full time, I mean, if you happen to find yourself in a situation where you leave your vehicle for an extended period of time and don't want to leave your heater on, when you come back and you start driving, the self-heating battery will heat itself up as it gets charged from your alternator before it actually starts sending a charge to the battery, right? It's all just a way of protecting our investments, especially in this day and age. Good Lord, I'm gonna need some more spinach and Popeye to get this thing off. Jeepers. Let's see, you can also use a flathead on these guys. Oh, no, this might be too big. Oh yeah, that one's no good. What else we got in here? Always want to have your battery terminals really nice and tight so your connections aren't loose for sure. But then maybe keep a bloody socket on hand. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my impact driver and actually use some brunt force to get those off. And this cap, there we go. Okay. All right. Two lucky's arse. Woo. Windy, windy, windy. That's what I need right there. Kicking myself for not having a simple ratchet. Make this way easier. Okay. That's pretty jank. And let's go. Oh yeah, there we go. All right. Negative, and let me get in there. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. They're free. Now, yeah, I have to make a decision for my personal setup here on how much of these wire bundles I'm going to leave in here and how much I'm going to remove for the season. Because I'm thinking, because this is my main positive right there, and it goes down to the line here, I don't want to have to remove it from this switch. This is it. That means that my new battery, the self-heating one, has to live here if that's the only run of positive cable I have available right now. My negative shouldn't be a problem, so. Well, first things first, let's yard these guys out of there. Hoy. I haven't actually had these out since I put them in, so I don't know how much these cables are going to be in the effing way here. Out comes a really light and small 200 amp hour battery. Next, we've got our little 100. You'll see, they're all LeTime. I do like them as a brand. All right, what a nightmare. This is the big giant cavity we now have in here in the Good Ship Lucky's power box. Down here, this guy right there, that is the LeTime battery charger. So this is what's connected to my shore power. So it'll kick on and it'll directly start charging the batteries as soon as I plug in the van on the outside. So you don't have to worry about it. Once we get it reconnected, it should all be good. It's actually wired into my bus bars here, right? So I think what we're gonna do is put that back down there for now. We got our main, this is our main negative right here, this big guy. I think I'll just have to cut that one zip tie there. That'll free it up. It'll be able to wrap back over here, and then everything else can just say disconnected. It looks daunting for sure, but it's really just, it's a lot simpler than having two batteries in here. This is our positive, that's our negative. So let's get out our Leatherman here. I don't have my regular snips with me. Just come in here, get that blade between the wires. It's just styrofoam that's making terrible noises. Everybody calm down. There we go. Get rid of that zip tie. Now we can bring this wire all the way here, and this should be golden. So this will be positive and this will be negative. Let's see if I am correct. I should be. I'm the one that designed and built this. Hello, come with me, won't you? Now I actually brought it with me. This little pro tip advice. I don't have the room in here. I built a frame to support my battery so they won't move around when I'm driving and whatnot. And that's important, but not as important as you'd think. Once you get your wiring and stuff all attached to the batteries, they're usually pretty stable. You'll notice I have a piece of foam board down here just to help insulate the batteries. Again, better than nothing. But what I was thinking I could do, which I now realize I can't because I don't have the space, is I brought the foam with me that the battery came packaged in the box. And this would be great if you, in your battery compartment or whatever, you just put this in here, then you could just sit the battery in there because you know it's the right dimension, and that's decent insulation right there. Again, won't work in my application. Hashtag sad day, but maybe you can make it work, or maybe I can make it work in a future build. Make sure you're subscribed and you have notifications turned on. Take this post off here. Attach our positive. We'll tighten that up momentarily. And our negative is out here. All we got to do is take off. We've got our brand new self-heating battery installed in the van. I'm going to tighten up these posts and we will throw that switch and we should be good to go. Nice and solid. See what I mean? There's a little bit of movement here. I could stuff a piece of foam just back here to keep it solid. When the other big battery was in here and they were wired together, my cables helped stabilize both of them, and obviously the big battery was inside that frame, so that helped a tremendous amount. But for this guy, since he's all on his lonesome now, a little piece of foam maybe stuffed, well, I don't even know because the cables are so thick. We'll see. That sounds like a future Matthew problem. For now, one cap and two caps. All right, so battery monitor's got no life because again, we're disconnected from the main system. So 3, 2, 1, close your eyes, don't explode. Hey, everything's working. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. 12-volt batteries, very easy to manage and everything if you know what you're doing. And I know I say if you know what you're doing, but as I have been making painfully clear in this video, I'm not a scientist. I've just taken my time and I've read things and watched other people online do stuff like this. I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, and the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and it is very worthwhile to learn it because yeah, there are alternatives. Obviously, I mentioned power stations earlier to providing yourself with power in a mobile situation. But these systems, I don't know. They just, one, it's the only way I've been able to make a diesel heater work. I'm not saying there's not other ways out there to do it, but that is a great thing for me. And just the fact that I have a fuse panel now with power that I can just start adding whatever I want, right? Just positive and negative. So I wasn't surprised when everything just turned back on. I can actually plug my fridge back in now as well. It was going on a fritz because it was trying to work off of the solar as well as the lights. Make sure that power's up. Yep. And now the unfortunate thing is we don't really have a way to test the self-heating function of this battery right here and now. It's very warm in the van. The battery will charge no problem. I'm probably getting a little bit of a charge right now from the solar. Yeah, a littlest bit. I'm going to take the van for a drive now, a nice really long drive around the city and back into it. And the DC to DC charger should top this bad boy up as we do that. Then I will be able to set my battery monitor at 100% capacity once I see the charging voltages or the watts go down to next to nothing. We'll know that the battery's topped up. And then Bob's your bloody uncle. And like I said, as I understand it, now I will be able to park the van, plug it into shore power, and that trickle charger will monitor the battery. If it drops below temperature, it'll heat itself up and then charge itself up. Like I said, it's just a way to protect your investment. Like, these lithium batteries are cheaper than other batteries, but it's still, it's still money that you spend on this stuff, and you don't want to damage it if you can avoid it. And I think I did not require this when I was in the van full time, but as a part-timer whose vehicle will be sitting in the cold weather, and now I don't have to worry about running my diesel heater and stuff, right? I can just leave the van. It will turn into a tomb when the temperature drops, but the battery will be protected, and conversely, my back will be protected. Because sure, the alternative is I could have just kept removing these batteries, maybe come up with some sort of quick release function, but I still would have had to have hauled both of these suckers into the warmth of the house if I wanted to protect them. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound ideal to me. The van looks so disheveled right now. I just shove everything forward, and I was rummaging around in the back for the ratchet that I didn't have. But there we go, that is done. And it also brings me another good point of something that's been on my mind. Obviously the battery was the #1 issue that I wanted to worry about, but generally winterizing my van. I mean, I'm in a unique situation, whereas I don't have to worry about like water lines or anything like a traditional RV has. So that's nice. It's because that's one of the perks of having built the van myself. My water supply was always inside the van, or it was bottled water or whatever. No muss, no fuss there. But again, now that I'm not going to be in it full time with the heater running almost 24/7, I got to start thinking about what I'm going to do. I mentioned in a previous video, one of the things that immediately made itself known was my refrigerator. And even though I still have the fridge set at 4 degrees right now, when I don't have the heater running and the temperatures drop down below freezing, the fridge doesn't keep itself warm. It needs the ambient temperature of the van in order to regulate that. It's not gonna, there's no heater setting for the fridge to, just basically all the stuff in my fridge will freeze, So we got to start thinking outside the box, and I guess that will probably mean keeping the fridge empty and on standby for when I want to go camping, as opposed to just having it stocked as I do right now, right? I got the freezer side over here and the refrigerator side over here. We're fine right now. I could actually use one of those. Thank you very much. But yeah, as the temperatures continue to drop, we're going to be in for a bit of a pickle. So that's something that I'm going to have to do. We will empty out the fridge in preparation for cold weather. And another thing is going to be stuff like, well, any sort of like aerosol cans I have in here. I mean, propane tanks. I mean, all that this is going to do. I mean, you probably don't want to leave them out, especially when it's going to be great. Like if it's like -40, probably ill-advised. Stuff like baby wipes and whatnot, those will turn into absolute bricks So I'm going to have to do a once over of the van and figure out what can and cannot stay in here, right? Like I've got my batteries for my tools. Speaking of lithium batteries, those will have to come in, and yeah, just got to do a once over because it's a vastly different experience this winter than when I was occupying the van full time, right? So it's fun to kind of, it's like learning new things and what does and does not work. But anyways, these lithium batteries, as if you haven't caught on by now, from LiTime, I should stop saying lithium, life poo fur, right? I love them. They're great. They have never left me in a lurch. They've functioned very well. I know a lot of people out there will be like, oh, you can't actually put these two in series or parallel, and that may very well be, and it's not something that LiTime recommends either, but as a DIYer and a person who was raised up by my grandfather and stubbornness and all of that, don't care, worked just fine for me, and I always had more than enough power on hand. So, if you would like to get yourself one of these, at this point of filming, I don't have anything, but I'm sure LiTime's going to hook me up with a bit of a promo code, and there's probably a link in the description below. If you need 12-volt batteries, whether they're self-heating or not, I highly recommend checking them out. So, there's that. All right, well, I will probably save the specifics of my winterizing for a future video. For now, we're going to get out of here and start getting some power to that battery. And then, of course, I'm going to be faced with the lovely task of schlepping these bad boys into Tortuga. I don't think they'll travel very well up on the table here, so a little smarter, bring them down here. Lights out. Energy tea up here. Pee bottle down there. Water bottle over here. Don't mix those up. That's a pro tip that should seem very obvious. And make sure we got our keys. We sure effing do. Curtain over. All right. And then fire up the van. And I actually disconnected my DC to DC charger before I left port this morning so that there wasn't a charge going to these batteries, again in the interest of maybe storing them at 50% capacity. Obviously these things are not at 50%. The monitor said that was about 89%, but yeah, I didn't want a charge going to them while we were driving. So I got to reactivate that before we leave. And for those that don't know, that is down here behind my driver's seat. I've just got this circuit breaker here that's currently disabled, and once I push this little red tab back up, we will have a connection again. Let's see how fast it takes to start getting a charge when I do that. All right, so I got my app here that monitors the house battery. We can see that auxiliary battery charging amps is at 0.4 right now, which means that's just solar that's connected. I mean, who knows? The battery might actually truly be topped up, but I suspect that it's a little bit empty, like maybe like 98 or 99%. So let's flip this, connect that to Lucky, and see what happens here. We're keeping our eye on this number right there, or the watts down here. 5 watts might be a little bit easier to pay attention to. The starter battery is running at 14.7 volts, which is great. That's nice and healthy. It's telling me that the house battery is at 13.3, which is a great level as well. There we go. So now we're charging from the alternator. We're only pulling 102 watts right now. So who knows, this might be just sensing the battery and leveling itself out. We will start driving and see if that number jumps or not. But that 102 watts, I want to see it come down very low, and then we'll know that we're actually topped up to full. Ha! I knew it. Now it's at 680 watts charging, so it wasn't completely topped up. Or maybe the system's still just checking it. Either way. One thing I want to point out with these LiTime batteries as well, and what they have available if you are in fact interested in picking yourself up one of the self-heating ones. I don't know if it exists on their non-heating versions. It probably does, but they've got alternatives that have built-in Bluetooth so that you can monitor the battery itself with, I would assume, a LiTime app. These batteries that I have do not have that function, so I can't actually monitor what the temperature is of the battery in my setup the way it is, because I'm using a different brand charger. It always says it's 25 degrees Celsius, which is nonsense. It's not. So it's another reason why I wanted to have this self-heating guy, so I don't have to worry about it, right? Just as long as it's working and being topped up. The one way for me to figure out whether or not this will be working is to wait, let the van sit, let the battery get really cold, and then come out and drive it around and see if the DC to DC charger kicks on right away. I'll be able to tell if those watts jump up to 680 right away, I'll know that the heating function's not working. But if it just stays low for a while, then I'll know that it's heating itself, because I know that the heating pads themselves draw a low amount of watts, obviously, and I'm assuming that would show. But again, I don't know. We're still learning. So let's go for a drive and see if we can drop that 680 watts down. Nice day for a drive through the breezy province of Alberta. Tally freaking ho ho ho. Yeah, see? This is the sort of stuff that makes me assume that I'm right when I say that that other battery charger with its lithium setting doesn't do the same job as a battery charger designed for specifically LiFePO 4 batteries. So I've been driving for well over half an hour now, coming back into the south end of Calgary here, and it's still not completely charged up. It's been bouncing back and forth. It's been at over 600 watts pretty consistently. It's definitely trying to finish up the charge sequence, but it's still sending 131 watts through. I'm waiting for both my starter battery and the house battery to both get to 14.4 volts, and then that's usually when it's full. So I'm gonna pull into a little shopping center here. I got to pick up some stuff for dinner for myself and my little girl. Hopefully this gets its poop in a group. Because like I said, yeah, over half an hour means that battery definitely wasn't fully charged. Alternatively, I could just plug it into shore power and let it come up to full power that way. But I like knowing that the van can do it, and I want to take a peek at that battery monitor as well. But might be there we go. As I'm speaking, both of them are now at 14.4. It's still sending 92 watts. All right, let's see what it does by the time I get to the parking lot. All right, we're doing pretty good. It's sending 53 watts now from the engine bay back to that battery. So that is nothing. So we're gonna call that full. Don't know how well that's gonna focus, but you can see that there you go, right? 56 watts now. It's gonna do that for a while. I don't think I've ever seen that thing go down to zero. It never truly will because of the solar panel, I suppose. Actually, yeah, there you go. It has kicked off, just when I start speaking, the alternator wasn't going. Anyway, it is topped up. We're gonna call that done. And we're gonna come back here, give us some light to see what we're doing. Move our stuff out of the way. Batteries et al. And we're gonna come down here to our battery monitor, which is also a LiTime product. Love it. Okay, so this thing is currently set for 300 amp hours and we no longer have that, right? So now I need to remember how to get into the, how do I get into the menu? I don't do this very often. So, let's see, maybe this is, hold this. No, that turns off the LED. Oh, we're doing great. This one, hold it. There we go. All right, so we got capacity here. So, enter. Okay, enter. And now we drop this down to 100 amp hours. Enter, enter, enter. Cool, now this one brings me down. Okay, and we go like this. There we go. So now we're back down to 100 amp hours as our capacity. It's saying 100% right now, but I'm going to hold the up button to make sure that we are 100% set, that is our full capacity. Alternatively, I know that it is good practice to let the battery die and then come back to this screen and hold the down button. And so you're setting your 0 or your dead value. But for me, I'm not gonna worry about it anymore. We are all good to go. Aside from the fact that I am now in this position in the tiny home on wheels, and I gotta get out of it by myself. It's not ideal. We'll put this battery monitor down here. Okay. It's the next morning. It got down to below 0 degrees Celsius last night. It was actually down to about -2. And the battery monitor is down to 79%. I haven't seen that in a while. That's very indicative of the fact that there's less amp hours installed in the van. I'm just about to fire the van up for the very first time. My phone is telling me that it's 2 degrees Celsius, 3 degrees Celsius outside right now. So what I'm looking for now is when I start the van, once the normal amount of time has passed where the DC to DC charger would kick on and start charging the battery, which 79%, it absolutely needs a charge. Will it still do that, or will it have to warm the battery up? I don't know if this is cold enough. I feel like it should be, but let's find out. Morning, Lucky. Into the app. The one variable factor here is the fact that there is power coming in from the solar panels right now, and that might have been enough to warm the battery up. I've got this temperature indicator down here. It says it's 25 degrees Celsius, like I mentioned. That is not accurate. Take a minute here for the alternator to kick on, and we will see what happens. My assumption would be that the alternator would kick on, the DC-DC charger would start oh, there we go, yeah. Oh, shit. And it immediately goes up to 339 watts. So who knows, maybe my battery back there in that little box is not cold enough. Either way, at least the charging system's working, so we'll have to try it when it gets even colder. And actually, as I drive here and see that the wattages are, that's the unofficial scientific term for it. The watts are back up to around 660 right now charging. I get to thinking, this app that I'm using to monitor the battery levels, it's only plugged into the actual DC to DC charger, solar charger that I have, the other brand. That's where it's getting my readings from. So if that thing could be saying, oh, I'm sending out 600 watts, sure, and that's what the app that's connected to that thing is telling me, that doesn't necessarily mean that the battery is using all of those watts. It might, the BMS inside the lead time battery might be saying, hang on a second, just give me this much to warm myself up. So I don't even know how myself in this situation could test it. Maybe by putting my voltmeter. That doesn't make sense. Apparently it would really help to be a scientist or a battery engineer, but just thought that was worth noting. Don't know if I'm onto something or not, but for what it's worth, for those that might be interested, I just put my multimeter on the battery under the bed there. Lucky is still running, so the DC-DC charger is still charging it. The app says that battery is at 14.4 volts, but when I put this on directly to the battery's posts, it's saying 13.9 volts. And now when it comes to 12 volt batteries, that could be night and day, or it could be nothing. But again, for what it's worth, I gotta go to the chiropractor and get something adjusted. Oh! All right, it's been a few days. Lucky has been sitting. I haven't been using her, turned her on. I haven't had her plugged into shore power. We are at 70% on that battery, and it has been very cold out. You can see from the cat's water dish, the water I left in here. We've got ice, so it's been cold enough to get down to below freezing. And again, going back, I was thinking about this, how like it always says that the battery's temperature is 25 degrees Celsius, which I know is not accurate, but it also shows me the DC to DC temperature, like the charge controller, and that's got to be accurate. I don't know if that's focusing, but it says that it's at 8 degrees Celsius. So if that's sensing the temperature in my box, then maybe that's what the house battery is at as well. So what I want to do now that I'm parked here at Tortuga is I'm going to throw the multimeter on there. I'm going to get a reading off the battery, and then I'm going to plug it into shore power and see what happens. I'm just doing my best to like test out this self-heating function. I don't know that I'll be able to because, again, as I've been saying, I'm not a scientist. Actually, I say use my multimeter, but I really don't have to. The app's saying that it's at 13.1 volts, the battery. I will just check that with the multimeter right now just to see. Yep. Oh, okay. So right on the battery, I have 13.06 volts. So it's down there for sure. So now I'm going to go plug this in. The trickle charger will turn on, and then we'll see what happens. And okay, Lucky now has shore power. Battery charger come on yet? No, it hasn't. Why are you not turning on? Maybe you're too cold. Could you imagine? It was loose at the back. So it's on now. It's saying 14.3 volts is what it's set to. That's just the battery charger itself. I wonder how I can, so now the app is saying it's at 13.8. Okay, so I bring this up here. It's saying, 0.57 degrees Celsius. And it does say that it's charging. Sitting at 14.4 volts. And my app is saying 13.9. So I don't know how to tell. I probably would need equipment fancier than this one to know, because yeah, again, same problem as I described before. The battery monitor is now saying that it's at 100%, which that's normal, but that's just that reading the voltage that's coming through, right? But it does say there's 500 watts going through. So I don't know. I guess time will just tell how well this works for me or not, whether the self-heating function, maybe it needs to be colder than it is, right? It's only like -3 degrees Celsius right now when I'm filming this. So, I mean, it feels quite cold in this box, I'm not gonna lie. But I wanted to get the battery on the trickle charger anyway, because I'm off, headed out in the van tomorrow. So I want a tippy topped up battery. So I'm going to leave this video here. Huge shout out to LeTime for sending me this battery. I'm sure it's going to work fine, because again, I've got lots of confidence with the company. And if I happen to notice any issues, I will reach out to them, and I'm sure they will take good care of me, as I'm sure they would take good care of you. I can't say anything else about their product other than I recommend it. I did get some actual proper promo codes from them, 2 separate ones. If you're looking to get yourself this exact battery, the 100 amp hour self heater, you can save yourself 10% with the code in the description below. And if you want anything else from them, any other product, there's a code down there to save yourself 8%. So definitely check those out. It would be worth it for you to be saving a little bit of money. Lord knows that's a very welcome thing in this day and age. So from me and inside the good ship Lucky, with her new self-heating battery from LeTime, we out of here, and we'll see you in the next one.